It's the 21st century, and it's time for you to break free from the old ideas, the old beliefs, the old shackles that have been holding you back and keeping you bound in misery and failure. It's time to learn the truth about your power and about what's really going on in the world. Everything that you see and experience is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Nothing more, but nothing less. Learn the truth. Change your life. Change the planet. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Reality Changer Radio. I am your host, Dickey, and I hope to enlighten you for the next few minutes on what your existence is really about and how you can stop being a victim if you think you are. Tonight, what I would like to talk about is an extension of the concept that your thoughts and feelings create your reality. So let's go backwards for a little bit and understand that of how your experiences actually are created. Your feelings give off energy, and this is the energy that is used by the law of attraction. Whatever that energy is, it attracts more of whatever that desire seems to be. It can even override certain fears or doubts that you have in your old school programming if it is strong enough. Okay, I always talk about how your fears and your doubts and all that other crap that's inside of you can cause you to have issues where you're either not having the day that you want, or you're not being able to manifest what you want. But just the opposite is true also. Sometimes what you desire can be stronger than your fears within that desire, and so you get what you want, okay? But where it comes down to is the feelings that you put out into the universe. That's the litmus test as to what it is you're going to get back. Now, those feelings are have a direct relationship with your thoughts. For every thought that you create in your head, there's a certain feeling, vibration that's attached to it. So we always talk about be careful, whatever you think you are, you are. Let's go back there. Your thoughts can create a success for you or a failure for you when all other things are equal. Okay? So your thoughts create your feelings. You think about something, like, let's say for instance, you don't like black cats. We'll just use black cats. It's great, right? Superstitious and all that. Let's say you don't like black cats. And let's say you don't like black cats because you honestly believe that they carry disease. Okay? So where that's going to come into play here is if you see black cats, you're instantly going to get a feeling about black cats. It's not going to be a good one, but it could be. You could like disease or whatever. Black cats could mean that there's gold coming your way. Whatever associations you put with your thoughts, when they materialize in front of you, you will have feelings about those thoughts. Okay? And those feelings go out into the universe. And that's more and more what you attract, which is why I always tell everybody, if you can find someone, and it's in your aura, okay? If you can find someone that can read auras correctly, you can discover all kinds of things about yourself that you didn't even know that you could go to a regular doctor and not find out about, okay? All kinds of stuff. Illnesses, traits, habits, whatever, all right? So your thoughts create your feelings, which create your reality. All right, whatever you're experiencing right now, or yesterday, or tomorrow, are a culmination of your feelings being put out into the universe, and those come directly from your thoughts. So where this comes into play with tonight's episode is that your feelings create your reality, good, bad, or indifferent. And sometimes you don't even know what's going on, but it's all you. No matter what happens to you, it's all you. Okay? Other people can be involved as innocent bystanders, not really having an effect on them or a secondary effect, and they can observe what's going on with you. But in your own personal reality, what's going on with you is directly from you. All right? That's very important to understand. I have a story about a guy that I know who he works at a print shop. He owns a print shop. I take it back. He owns the print shop. And he has high-speed digital color. And he's been in business for 40 some odd years. He loves the business. He loves to work. And he loves the concept that he can do this. He's almost 70 now, but he loves the concept that he can do this. And his love for the equipment, he only concerns himself with the digital. He has guys doing the conventional stuff. His love for the equipment and the energy that puts out combines to either create a productive day or a non-productive day. It's a small room that the two digital machines are in, and he's in there 90% of the day. So his energy, and trust me when I tell you this, your energy and computers and anything else that puts out energy, you get connected, and there's a transference of energy. So his energy, good, bad, or indifferent, is transferred to the machines, and the machines are transferred to him. So here's what happens, and you're going to love this. He's a workaholic, yet he owns a house out by a lake. He loves to go do stuff, all this other things, but he doesn't get to do that often as he should for being in business as long as he has been, because he's a control freak and he feels that things won't go right when he's not there. However, his desire to take a break sometimes overwhelms that fear. And can you guess what happens when his desire to take a break really starts to manifest? Well, the only time that he ever has any downtime is when the machines aren't running. Okay? So now, if his only downtime is when the machines aren't running, and his desire to have some downtime at one point or another becomes stronger than his fear of what will happen if the machines don't run, can you finish the equation for me? The equation is when he desires more to take a break than he fears the break, the machines don't work. Because in his experience and in his reality, he only gets to take a break if the machines aren't running, because it's not like he gets a break when there's not enough jobs to do. He is swamped with work all the time, which creates his fear about the machines not running. But when his desire to take a break is stronger than his fears, the machines break down. And this is very important for you to understand. It also, and I've got another story about another guy, it can also create a situation, because what's going to happen here is whatever you desire most is going to happen. Whatever you put out there into the universe, the most is going to happen. If it's stronger than your fears about it, one of the two are going to happen. Either your fears about it are going to happen, or your desire about it is going to happen. But something's going to happen, and it's all going to be because of you and your energy. So the other important factor here is that it also makes him sick. That's right. His desire to take a break coupled with his fear that something will happen if he takes a break, or his belief that the only time he gets to take a break is when he's not feeling well, well, here comes the desire to take a break. It's stronger than anything, and it finds, it's the shortest path, point A to point B. And what's recently happened to this gentleman is he became ill after worrying about being gone for a couple of days, and the machines broke down majorly, and he's still at home sick. Now, when he's on track and everything is gangbusters, everything's fine. Not one problem. But as soon as he starts to get overwhelmed and he starts to get tired, because we all get tired from working too hard, but he's old school mentality. He's almost 70. He was brought up that the only way to get your stuff is to work hard and don't take days off and everything else. So when he does take a legitimate day off and nothing's broken, he works from his house on the lake. He doesn't take time off. That's not really taking time off. So now he's in a situation where he's been sick for a couple of days and the machines have just broken down majorly. Like complete silence in that room for 2 days. The other story, and this is also related to sickness and worry. The other story I have for you tonight is about a gentleman who is a programmer, and he has his own game that he designed, and he has players who pay to play it online. And his life is set up so that he doesn't really associate too much with his wife. He has minimal hobbies. He works all night long on the game, and he's obsessed by the game. And his obsession comes from the fear that if he doesn't do this, he won't make any money. Now, keep in mind that this guy is very old school programming, not even Americanized. I mean, he's an American citizen, but he's from a foreign country and speaks with a heavy accent, and so he's got that foreign mentality from his old school relatives, which is the basis behind the old school programming in America. So deeply entrenched in the work hard ethic, you don't get nothing for nothing, all of that other stuff, coupled with his fear that because this is his only job, and he makes good money, but because this is his only job, if something was to happen, then it would be disastrous. But constantly, for months, he was telling me that he needs to revamp the game design because he fears people are going to drop out if he doesn't upgrade it, because it's got old style graphics and all this other stuff. However, at the same time, he says that he never had time to upgrade it because he was too busy working on it. And he's assessed how long it would take to upgrade it and all this other stuff. And so he never gets any free time. So he's concerned about not getting free time, just like the other gentleman. And at the same time, he fears that if he takes any time off, it's all going to go in the hopper. Because he's the only one. He's the only one. And that everyone would bail on him if he had to stop it for any length of time. So, constantly, he's complaining. One day, he gets an ear thing. It's vertigo. And there's something about little crystals that break off inside your ear and they swim around. I've never heard of that part of it. I was never really up on what vertigo really is. But apparently what happened was he lost his equilibrium and fell down. Almost to the point where he thought he was having a stroke. He couldn't move. He was super dizzy. He was breathing fast. He was sweating heavy. His wife panicked. They brought him to the hospital. They checked him out, and it was to the point where he couldn't even sit up for more than an hour at a time in the very beginning. Well, that doesn't suit well for a programmer, especially one who does it for a living, and his only job is the game that he's programming every single night for 12 hours a day. But what it does do is it gives him an aha moment. And so I talked to him 3 months later. And I asked him how he was doing, and he was doing better and better, and he was explaining to me the therapy that they were going through and how he was walking with a cane. But then, and I said to him, I said, so what happened what was the worst part about the whole thing? And he kind of looked off into the sky and had a smile. And he said, to tell you the truth, Dave, what I feared would happen the most didn't happen at all. In fact, it was quite the opposite. And I said, well, how was that? He says, well, I kind of thought that if I couldn't keep the game running constantly, that everyone would bail on me and that my advertisers wouldn't understand and that I'd be sunk. He says, that's why I never stopped the game long enough to do major changes so that I could eventually rehab the whole game. What happened was the minute that he put out there that he had this issue, everybody understood. Everybody understood. Even his advertisers. His sponsors said, don't worry about it. We got your back. So fast forward, let's see here, 8 months. And in that 8 months, what he's been able to do is phenomenal. Because he had to give up the game totally, he was able to find time to work on little things, an hour at a time. That was maxed out, and then he'd have to lay down. But an hour at a time gave him, because he still had that drive and that passion, gave him an opportunity to create a program for rehabbing this other game that was something he wanted to do right along. This was what he knew he had to do, but was afraid of taking the time to do it because of his fear that everyone would bail on him and he'd be left holding the bag. Not only was he able to do that and integrate that new programming into the game and make it like a rock star game, he increased his subscribers, so he's making more money, and he's able to relax. And he told me, Dave, it really gave me a chance to sit and think about what's really important. What's my life like without the game? There was nothing. His relationship with his wife is, standard. But for him, there was nothing going on in his life without the game. And he didn't know that. He didn't realize that he was so involved that he basically didn't have a life. So once he realized that, oh, and by the way, another important aspect of redoing the game, he doesn't work as many hours because he doesn't have to spend all that time patching when he should have been programming. So now he doesn't work 12 hours a day. So now what he did, and I was shocked and I was very happy for him, he started taking up cooking. He started taking cooking lessons. And he actually found that he enjoyed the art of cooking. Whereas this guy, for I don't know how many years, maybe 10, but he was always a programmer, always a computer guy. It was like, oh, that's the only thing in my life. That's the only thing in my life. Now, because he was forced to sit down and forced to take a break and forced to look at his life, now he's discovering avenues that he didn't even know existed before. And he's so happy. You know, when I see him, I say, hey, what did you cook? What's the latest thing you cooked? Well, I did this and I did this. And then he'll go into this little thing and tell me about his recipe and all that. And you could see there's a major difference. So I said to him, well, let me ask you. So are you telling me now that your greatest fears were unfounded? He said, yes. I said, are you telling me now that you've been forced to take a break, that you could see that everyone would have understood anyways? And he said, yes. My reason for these two scenarios tonight is, like I said in the beginning, how your energy and your feelings and your thoughts, because they create your feelings, can not only affect those around you and those things around you, but they can affect your health. When your desire to take a break is so freaking strong that it outweighs your fears, something has to give. And sometimes it's your health. Especially, and I haven't asked either one of these gentlemen, but especially I'm wondering if, and it wouldn't surprise me because of the old school programming, that they work so hard and were so attached to their particular things that they honestly believed that the only way out is to get sick or die. Fortunately, it wasn't the latter. But it wouldn't surprise me because you hear people say stuff like that all the time. Well, the only time I get to take a break is when I'm not feeling good. Well, I hope that since you're listening to this broadcast that you don't do that, because if you really make yourself believe that, then the only way you're going to take a break is to not feel good. And how crappy is that? I mean, you know, what, you're gonna take a break from something that really is a killer thing for you, and then you have to be sick while you're taking a break? That's not taking a break. Working from home is not taking a break. You have to understand that just how you affect everything materialistically on the external, you also affect your own being. That's how powerful you are. And it goes right back to what I've been saying right along about the placebo drugs. Because their belief was so strong that that sugar water would cure their warts, it did. With the episode about it's all soda water, because the belief was so strong that an energy drink would make you stronger, it did. But let's understand exactly what's going on here. The belief system is changing the molecular structure of your body for good or bad. It can make you stronger, it can make you weaker, it can make you healthier, it can make you sicker. Let's think about hypochondriacs. They go to 27 doctors who tell them there's nothing wrong, and then all of a sudden they have all the symptoms of something, but doctors can't figure out what's going on. Some of them even die. Some of them get paralyzed for no reason at all, other than the belief that they held within themselves that there was something wrong. By that same notion, holding the belief within yourself that everything is fine works exactly the same way. It works exactly the same. It can't work differently because it's only one process in action. It's only one process. It's your belief system putting out there into the universe, attaching itself, using the power. We're all connected. It's all God in action. We're all connected. And using that power to create whatever it is that we decide to create. It is those of us that don't realize how that process works that end up having a crappy day or getting sick or getting into a car wreck, or having their work slow down, or having their machines break. It's those people that don't understand how we're all connected and how it all works exactly the same for good stuff or bad stuff. And it works exactly the same for each and every one of you. Nobody has less power. Nobody has less of a connection. Nobody is out there in the wilderness all alone like they'd like you to believe. No one is powerless like you've been programmed to believe and blame somebody else for the crap in your life. It's all you. It's all you, 100% you. And I hope that by these two examples, which are real, by the way, I hope that by these two examples that you can see how other people, and you may, after listening to this show, you may start getting pointers in your head about your own life or about somebody you know. And then start doing the math, work it backwards. What's going on? What's going on there? Is there too much going on? Is there a belief system of the only time that I can get any downtime is when I'm sick or there's no work? How many times? I've heard people say that a ton, especially if you talk to people that work in offices and high finance. And, oh no, the only time I get a break is when there's nothing happening. Well, say that enough times and that becomes a belief of yours. It becomes a belief that has power because it's your belief and it's your reality. Now that doesn't have power over me unless I believe the same thing. But your personal reality is all that you should be concerned with. And understand that every single word that you say about yourself has power. Unless you're joking. You see, here's a key too. You could be joking around about being a stupid idiot and it doesn't have any power. It's when you attach feeling. It's your feelings. As long as you're not feeling like a stupid idiot, you could say you're a stupid idiot all day long and it doesn't mean anything. As long as you're not feeling as if the only time you can take a break is when you're sick, you could joke about that stuff all day long and it will not have any impact. Folks, it is when we earnestly in our hearts believe that we have limitations. And when those limitations that we have set up for ourselves are met, the consequences are obvious. Do yourselves a favor. Stop your limitations. Understand that the way that you create the limitations is exactly the way you create your freedom from those same limitations. There doesn't have to be any limitations. There doesn't have to be any conditions to you having time off, or taking a break, or getting a rest, or clearing your head. You know, people make up this mental health day because they still feel as if it's not right to take a day off. They're making themselves wrong by doing something they know they need to do, and that's chill out. We were never supposed to work this hard. We only work this hard because we're in the physical. We're in the external. That's the only reason things are hard. Once you use the God-given power that you have, things become so easy it's unreal. And nothing matters. It doesn't matter if you finish a project today or 2 days from now, because you can control that whole environment. You don't have to worry about that stuff. You don't have to. It's non-existent. Once you wake up and understand exactly what's going on, then you're fine. So tonight, I want everybody to just think about their lives and think about the areas where they feel that there's too much stress, too much going on, and that they can't get a break. And I want you to start working on those, because it's absolutely not the case unless you put feeling to it and make it and own it, and then it will be the case. You never will get that break. Okay, so if you've been, if you're one of those types that never takes a vacation or is afraid to take more than a couple of days at a time, you have to work on yourself about that. Because that limitation is created by you and the beliefs that you have about your position in life. And you can change that. You can totally turn that around 180%. So, go to my website, whatyouThinkIsWhatYouGet.com. If you're in the South Bay area, go to the events and workshops. Go to the events and workshops anyways, and check out our meetup group. It's becoming really popular. There's a link on there to join our meetup page, find out when we're going to be having the meetups, and come and talk to Debbie and I, and let us help you understand exactly what's going on and how to change these things. You can change them. You just need to know how. So I wish all of you an awesome week. I'm going to wrap it up now. But until next time, this is Dave Dickey signing out for Reality Changer Radio. I love you all. God bless you all. Have an awesome life.